and welcome to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest stories, hits from Disneyland Australia, opening now. My name's Chris Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hoare. Is Disneyland Australia just not the whole of Australia?
Well, I mean, I like to think that given that the Disney Plus streaming service is opening soon, it's going to be my living room, will be Disneyland Australia.
But, oh my gosh.
And given that I am apparently the person of my friends who always hosts whenever it's time to watch movies, because I live in the middle of everyone and have the biggest TV.
Okay, that's fair
so
enough.
So I sort of get that wonderful
I mean, if you have the biggest TV, then it's kind of your responsibility. Exactly. You have to do it.
I recently had to buy a bigger vacuum cleaner to compensate for the.
Well, you should make everyone who has to come over to your house to watch films chip in for the vacuum cleaner costs.
That's true. I should have a Dyson jar.
Yeah. If you could leave a few coins in there, a few pennies, so I can buy a better vacuum cleaner.
So I'm recently a singleman.
A singleman?
And because all of my friends some of my friends that I pay attention to live their lives vicariously, doing the dating and stuff. I've re-downloaded the Tinder dating app.
Oh, wonderful! Now, is it much like the experience? All I know about dating apps,
yes.
I know a lot about dating apps from Swiped the movie,
okay,
and also from the other movie starring the same actor.
That I don't remember the name of.
Noah Centineo is the actor.
Yes.
And the other movie is called Perfect Date. That's it.
Right. That one's better.
It's not hard to be better than Swiped.
No, that's true. I was like kind of into the main girl in Perfect Date, and all of my friends were being like, "Oh my god, she's the worst," and I was like, "It's kind of working for me." I think this says a lot about me.
Well, speaking of random movies, actually, I did watch a movie on Netflix last night called Back to School, I think it was. It was a French movie, and it was kind of okay. But then there were some bits as it approached the end where I'm like, I'm not sure what they're trying to do with this. Because
I feel like that. I get that experience when I watch most movies.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of like, my initial reaction to the twist at the end is kind of like, okay, good for them. But I feel like that isn't supposed to be the reaction, and I feel like the reaction that you're supposed to have is kind of not great, and so I wouldn't recommend this movie.
I mean, last night I watched John Wick 3, and what I appreciate about that movie is that I knew exactly what it was going to be when, in the first 15 minutes, Keanu kills 12 people with knives, and I was like, okay, I understand what this movie is, I'm here for it.
And I'm just going to turn off every part of me that sees this as completely unethical and just enjoy the movie.
There's a bit where Halle Berry tells her dog to jump up from her back up onto a rooftop so that it can bite a guy in the nuts. And it was the most joyous thing in the world where she gave the dog a boost to kill him.
That does seem like a very good scene.
It was an excellent scene.
I just want to isolate that scene and watch that, I think.
On a loop forever is the dog boost scene.
So tell me about this, your dating app experience.
Well,
how's it been back in the jungle?
So I've been having to learn how to commodify yourself. What's cool about dating apps is that you really have to. Doing pitching in university has been a very helpful experience.
Yeah, sure.
I think.
So basically, you can thank our old mate Peter Frey for any successful dating experiences you have.
Yes, if I ever manage to get myself laid, I have Peter to thank for that. But you sort of have to learn which parts of yourself to emphasize and which parts of yourself to hide.
Yeah.
Well, I know that because I've got kind of floppy hair. When I put a scarf on, I can look kind of like a French artist. So I've decided
that's certainly an aesthetic that people appreciate. I think
the vibe that I'm going for. I think because now this might shock our listeners, but I'm not a huge buff boy, so. Do you remember
we went to that art show opening with our friend from university? You got to dig up the photos from that and chuck that in your Tinder feed.
Oh, don't worry, I've looked through them. I'm making bad faces in all of those.
Oh no.
I have one photo that's sort of like a pulled back me hiking photo because A, it shows I can go outside.
Well, that's
B,
a good sign.
It shows that I have a vaguely healthy body shape, which I feel is important
Just
to demonstrate.
vaguely healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just want to give out that photo is to provide like, hey, this is adequate.
Hey, look, this is functional.
Like it'll get a job done. I won't.
I'm not going to tell you what job.
But
It
it'll
could just
get
be
something
like
done.
simply, vacuuming the floor. But
Yeah, it's like
it is capable of vacuuming. So that's.
Can he move a cabinet? Maybe worth a try.
Oh,
So,
well, I
like-
would give it a red hot go.
Exactly. I've decided to try and commodify my red hair as well. So my little bio
sure.
opens with proud redhead because I know that there's a subcategory of people who are into that.
There
And
are,
I'm like,
there's quite a lot of people who are,
I've got to appeal to the Ron lovers out there. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to commodify my bisexuality because that's a weapon that needs to be used against the world.
Sure, fair
Because
enough.
because let's be real, gay people are objectively cooler and better than straight people.
Well, that's 100% true.
Yeah, so I need to use that to sort of stand out from the crowd. Be like, hey, I don't have the abs, but
I'm cool.
I'm cool, so I can make that work.
Yeah.
Mixed success so far. We'll see how we
Sure.
go.
Well, I'm interested to hear about what changes you make to your bio to make it more successful. Maybe you choose to highlight some other elements.
Well,
Like
I
you have a
wrote-
big TV, that's quite a good thing you could
That's
include.
true.
on
I
the-
could write, I have a big TV and see how people respond to that weird dick measuring contest through technology, energy.
Well, there are people who are into that. There might be some people that it might be a good way to get people to your house, right? Because then they could say, how
that's
big's your
true.
TV? And be like, I don't have a measuring tape. Why don't you come by and have a look?
Because that's really what I'm aiming for, is to lure people to my home.
So
and
that
trap
they
them
measure
there.
with a measuring tape. So that they come
that's-
by and measure your television.
You've managed to pitch the most insidious, terrifying form of dating possible.
Well, look,
in,
if my Sims relationships are anything to go by, insidious, horrifying dating is all I can do, really.
Do you have a story to start us off, Alison?
Do we want to start off with a really crass story, or do we want to start off with something a little bit less crass?
Oh no, I want to hit the ground running.
Hit the ground running.
Or whatever horrible verb would be appropriate in this context.
Yeah, look, well, I don't know.
Hit the ground crawling through the muck. That's what I want to do.
Well, I've got a story out of the UK then, to hit the ground crawling through the muck.
Oh, only nasty shit comes out
Yeah.
of the UK.
This story is about historical restoration. I'm just going to
Okay.
preface the headline by making that clear. It's about historical restoration of a very important historical site in the UK. So,
Why do I feel like I'm being set up to get punked right now? I can just feel it happening.
it is actually what the story is about, but the headline makes it very difficult to understand that.
Okay.
It's a hard one to read. Volunteers polish giant's erection by hand.
Okay. So there's a few different...
And this is on metro.co.uk.
God, I wish we lived in a fantasy world. Because just like... That would 100% be a cottage industry of like teams of people who have to wank off giants. And that's like, you get paid well for that because giants have big money.
Yeah.
So like...
The big money's worth more because it's bigger.
That's my dream job, I think, is giant fluffer. Because that's just... It's not that hard. You get a good workout. It's not that hard.
And you get a
doing
big
it,
money, a big coin.
and you get a big
at the
money
end.
at the end. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you smelt that down, turn it into lots of little monies.
Yeah, exactly. Little monies, little human monies made out of the giant money.
Exactly.
So the headline is kind of telling you exactly what kind of historical restoration is being done here. In fact,
Wait, did it say giant erection or giant's erection?
giant's erection, the erection of a giant.
Okay, because I was going to say the other one could just be like a compliment to a statue or something like
Yeah,
that. Or it wouldn't, in that context, it wouldn't even have to be a statue. It could just be a guy who was there. Like,
Okay, let's move on. Let's read the story.
it could just be one of these historical restorers was well endowed, and they had a fun party.
Well, a giant chalk figure of a man with a huge club is being given a makeover.
Okay. Is club a euphemism?
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
think he also has a large club.
Okay. Yeah, there's 2 large clubs, and good on him for
Yeah,
that.
well, he does he does in fact also have a large club.
Fair enough.
So, the world-famous Cern Abbas giant in Dorset is a 180-foot tall and will be re-chalked by hand by dozens of volunteers over the next 2 weeks. It has been a feature of the area since the 17th century and is in need of a gentle polish and tickle to restore it, including the 36-foot erect penis.
Oh, gosh.
It's quite large.
That's, you'd really want to do some stretches before partying down on that bad boy.
So,
Like,
by the way, this is like on a giant field. A giant like chalk figure has been dug into the ground and like chalk has been laid over so that the grass doesn't grow over it, and it's like an old artwork that someone's
So
made.
it's like a crop circle with a boner.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is. It's and quite a lot of work has been put into the boner. In fact.
Well, I mean, that's where the majority of the effort's going to go, 100%.
Well, exactly. I guess these historic people, they probably made that first, and then someone was like, "Hey kids, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, we're drawing a man. he just happens to be naked." And they're like, "Well, where's the rest of the man?" So, we're making that now, sir. It's okay.
Do you think that without, like, spray paint, that's how people did graffiti in medieval times?
Sure.
Is they do, like, crop circles of tags and dicks and things like that?
Absolutely. I think my favourite thing, studying ancient history 10 years ago in high school, clearly I'm an ancient historian, was when we're doing the unit on Pompeii, and we did get to see a lot of, like, lewd graffiti that...
Oh.
that the ancients in Pompeii did. They were quite into their lewd graffiti.
Well, I mean, there wasn't a lot to... They didn't have internet back then, so
No.
there wasn't much to do.
Where
so I
else
get
are you
it.
supposed to post your lewd content?
Like, if I was in the olden days, I would 100% be doing dick crop circles. Like, what else am I going to do with my time?
Yeah, or just carving little wooden ones from, like, various pieces of driftwood that's floated up on the shore or something.
And knowing myself, I think I would try very hard to get better as, like, an artiste so that it could be, like, really anatomically correct and be, like, I want realism, and that's important to me.
Well, you got to keep at it, keep at it. But yeah, this is clearly... If you look at, like, the whole picture overhead, I would like to point out that, in fact, the head of this man, the real head, the face, is smaller than...
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying there, Alice. That hadn't occurred to me at all, actually, that joke. But, continue.
Yeah, well, his head is smaller than his erection.
Huh.
Yeah, it's quite
Well, that makes me insecure.
But to be fair, his head is also smaller than his hands and his feet, significantly so.
Okay, so he sounds like he just has a disorder.
He's just got a very small head.
I mean, there's people like that. So wait, did you
Yeah.
say he's 180 feet tall and his dick is 30 feet long?
36, I believe. Let's
30
just
so his
clarify.
penis-
Let's just fact check. Scrolling back up. Yeah, it is 36 foot.
So my point is that his penis is a sixth of his body's length, which is
quite significant.
it's considerable. I think that maybe some people in medieval times were overcompensating just a tad.
Well, the other thing we have to remember is this is a giant figure drawn on the ground. I don't know if they could, like, exactly measure the proportions of what they were doing very realistically, because they can't see it from overhead. So maybe they thought they were drawing a really small one, but it just... they didn't know the size in relation to the body.
A respectful size.
Yeah,
no,
like
I think they intended to draw a small one, but they, like, slipped a bit. Someone fell over and spilt some salt, so they had to just keep extending it to make it the right shape.
You have to make the shape exactly accurate.
Or there was one guy in that time who genuinely had a penis that was like, I guess for reference, would be like 20 centimeters long, or like 30 centimeters long. And people like saw him as this kind of godlike figure. And they had to,
sure.
So this is like an idol to him, the small-headed, big-dicked man, who...
He was just a guy they knew. And he was always carrying around a giant club. That was just his icon.
Yeah, he was overcompensating, but for the size of his head, not the size of his penis.
Yeah, exactly. And which is why in the picture, the club is being held over his head to redirect your attention from his comically small face to his very large club.
I respect that.
So let's get a bit more into the story. Let's find out more about this fellow and why he exists in Dorset.
Okay.
So, yeah, it said, since its last refresh in 2008, the weather has taken its toll, and weeds have encroached on the giant, blurring its previously sharp, chalky outline.
So he needs to do some manscaping. Fair enough.
Oh, this next sentence. Tons of the white stuff extracted from a nearby quarry. Was it necessary to say that about the chalk?
Jesus.
Will be tightly packed in by hand to the existing...
Well, I mean, it is a saline fluid. It would work. So...
Well, it is...
It would salt the earth. I don't know how you'd amass that much of it.
It's chalk. So, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's chalk.
Okay.
Just clarify.
Okay, Alison, I 100% guarantee somewhere there's a little bit of jizz in there. Just like a little bit. One person has done it. Like, with all these volunteers,
true, yeah.
one of them did
There's
it.
a lot of volunteers involved in this.
One person was just like, I'm just going to stay a bit late, put some extra chalk on it, and everyone was like, all right, Kevin, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah, we all know what you're doing when you say extra chalk, but...
Kevin did his nasty deed and then went home to his loving wife and family. And never continued from there.
So, I'm going to skip a little bit here about, all of the volunteers working on the ribs.
Because we do not get... There's nothing interesting in that.
There's a picture. There's a picture here that's next, and it's you can see a volunteer who is here to spruce up the giant, carrying a bag of chalk, and this writer for Metro.co.uk has decided to caption it as such. A man brings a deposit of the white stuff ready to spruce up the giant.
He was so proud of himself.
Okay, and then the next picture, it's just directly after that one. And it's a photo that's taken almost in sequence, and he's ready to put the bag of chalk down on the ground, and the very proud writer for Metro.co.uk has decided to caption it as such. Ready to unload his sack, he is one of many volunteers working on the giant.
I kind of respect that, because he came up with another joke. I thought it was just going to be the white stuff over and over and over again.
No,
I feel like there's a lot of effort put into this.
And I like how he's justified using two almost identical pictures. One of the guy carrying the bag of chalk, the other of the guy putting the bag of chalk on the ground.
It's because he has an app in the Notes app on his note in the Notes app on his phone that's just dick jokes, and it's just a list of them, and he wants to see how many he can fit into this one story.
Dear.
And I respect that hustle.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to read this last little bit here.
Okay.
Just about a bit of context about this whole situation. So Natalie Holt, countryside manager for the National Trust, said, "Rechalking the giant is challenging in many ways, not only due to its size, but because of the sheer steepness of the slope he's on. It needs redoing every 10 years or so because he does get discoloured and weathered and covered by weaves."
That is what happens if you leave it out in the sun.
Yeah.
It gets discoloured.
As we go on, there is a little bit of information about this giant. Maybe you're wondering why this guy exists.
I think he's just getting a tan, actually, but continue.
It's at the origin of the ancient figure, which stands naked and brandishes a 40-metre long club, remains shrouded in mystery.
His club is only 3 meters longer than his dick.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it's 40 metres, 120 foot.
So it's like twice
the penis is measured in foots. Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, it is a giant club. It says it remains shrouded in mystery, with ideas ranging from a depiction of ancient gods to aiding fertility. Mike Clark from the CERN Historical Society
Oh, okay,
said...
so it's like if you really want to have a baby, you need to go and like bone on the dick of the giant man.
Yeah, I guess so. And if you really want a new club, you've got to go and have sex on the club.
There was 100% some weird medieval orgies took place on that. That's
Yeah.
like 100% a thing.
Well, sure. It says that
Gross.
also some claim he is an ancient symbol, perhaps a likeness of the Greco-Roman god Hercules. The earliest records mention the giant only dates from 1694. So this isn't even the ancients. This is like, you know, some post-medieval dudes just decided to build a giant chalk figure.
This is just like Queen Elizabeth was just like, I want you to draw my ideal man on the side of this hill.
Well, this is another like theory that's been suggested. Others suggest he was created to mock Oliver Cromwell. These are the most favoured theories, but all of them have their drawbacks. Dude, I don't understand like how
Are
this
they
is
mocking
designed
him
to
for
mock.
his? Are they mocking him for his tiny head or giant penis?
Oliver Cromwell
at
is
school
like
got
personally
teased.
attacked by this.
He got teased so badly at school because his dick was so big. Everyone was so mean to Oliver Cromwell about it. In the locker rooms, people would be like, "Oh my god, look at it! It's hanging so low to the floor." What
Oh
a
my
lame...
god, Oliver, you're disgusting.
All the coolest guys have the smallest dicks, Oliver. Ladies love it when you have a real tiny one.
I think that's my favourite part about this. It's just the theory that this giant chalk man was created to mock Oliver Cromwell, and I don't know why.
I don't think we need to. I think the imagination's so much better than whatever truth could possibly be.
It's all his schoolmates when they created that, and be like, "Hey, look, Ollie, go out in the field and see what we drew." And then he saw it and he
Careful
cried.
not to hit the grass with your dick, Ollie.
Do you have another story? This is a quite lewd one to start us off.
I'll find a less lewd one.
Yeah. Thanks, mattcho.co.uk for...
So this story was submitted by Stephen Ato, friend of the show. Shout out to his Talking with Dinosaurs podcast.
A good boy from New Zealand.
Good boy from New Zealand. And as such, this story is from the Otago Daily Times.
Oh, yeah.
So the headline... And this is so very much your shit, Alison. The headline
I'm
reads...
very excited for this.
This is written by Tracy Roxburgh. The headline is, Threat to Kill Alleged Over $10,000 Flat Earth Bet.
Okay. I am very into flat earth things, so that is very much up my alley.
A $10,000 bet between two Queenstown men over whether the Earth is flat or round resulted in one being charged with threatening to kill the other.
Why would you be willing to stake $10,000 on... So you're the guy who knows the Earth is round. And this guy comes to you and say, "Hey, I bet you $10,000 the Earth is flat." Like, you'd be dumb not to accept that bet.
Well, I mean, that is the story. Pretty much.
Okay.
A $10,000 bet between two Queenstown men over whether or not the Earth is flat or round. Oh, wait, I just read that. Jamie Matthew Sutherland, 36, car groomer of Frankton, that's a job, denied threatening to kill Louis Lanz in Queenstown on February 14th, an incident which resulted from a dinner the pair had a couple of months earlier during the bet was made. Giving evidence in the Queenstown District Court...
I like to imagine these guys are on a date.
That would be
They're on a
delightful.
date and they just, like, they're both getting along really, really well. And then, you're just... One of them just says, "Hey, so I need to confess something before we get too far into this relationship." And he's like, "Look, I'm really enjoying our time together, Yeah, I'm open to anything." And he's like, "Okay, so the Earth is flat."
They're like, oh. So you're paying for dinner, firstly.
Firstly, I have an appointment, actually. Sorry, I didn't realise that.
Oh, I have a serious medical appointment. I'm probably going to die tomorrow, and you're never going to hear from me again.
Yeah, look, if you never see me again, it's not because I'm ghosting you because you said the Earth was flat. It's because, yeah, I'm probably dead. So don't
Probably
try and
dead.
call me.
Don't contact me. So, giving evidence in the Queenstown District Court before Judge Bernadette Farnan this morning, Mr. Lance, a tennis instructor, said the pair had known each other since primary school, and over dinner in Queenstown he spoke about the flat earth because I believe it's flat.
Oh, no.
I said, I will bet you $10,000 it's flat.
Sure.
Mr. Sutherland quickly jumped on that bet.
Yeah, as anyone else would.
We shook hands, and then he said, you owe me $10,000. Mr. Lance then told Sutherland he would have to pay up, which the defendant disagreed with, believing the earth was round. Sometime later...
I like how whoever wrote this is implying that, you know, he only believed the earth was round, you know, like...
There's no way of proving that.
The writer couldn't themselves be a flat earther.
Sometime later, the pair encountered each other at a petrol station. Sutherland mentioned he wanted his money. He was starting to make threats in order for me to pay up. I believe I've won. I believe I'm right. It was kind of a joke for me. It was more of a, I bet you $10,000 because I'm so sure I'm right. I told him many times it was a joke bet. The way I said it was in a joking manner, he just didn't take it that way. On February 14th, the pair again encountered each other at the petrol station.
Oh my god. I like how the Queenstown petrol station is clearly the place to be.
Yeah, there's not a lot of other stuff to do in Queenstown. People just hang out at the
They're
petrol
hanging out
station.
at the petrol station, yeah.
He said, Sutherland approached Lance and became more forceful in his demand for the money. He said, if you don't pay it, I'll get a crossbow. I'll shoot you and your father. Put you in the...
That's quite a threat. That's not ideal.
I'll get a crossbow, I'll shoot you and your father, put you in the trunk, and they'll never see you again. Mr. Lance said he believed with the benefit of hindsight he did not believe Sutherland had any intention of following through with the threat, but at the time he was shocked because he was unsure if he meant it, so told his father.
To be honest, if someone said they'll kill me with a crossbow, I would probably give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, there's this level of specificity to it, I think.
Yeah, it is quite, like, specific.
When someone threatens to kill you with a crossbow, it's quite concerning.
Sorry. According to who?
This is according to Mr. Lance. This is a quote. He was very concerned because of the...
Understatement of the century.
Yeah, it's the crossbow-based nature of the threat that makes it so concerning.
Oh my god. This is why you don't meet with people you haven't seen since primary school.
No.
Is
Because
what...
you end up threatening to kill them because the earth is flat and it's just a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Mr. Lance said neither he nor his father wanted the matter to proceed through the court, believing Sutherland had learnt his lesson. I hope he's doing better and we can all just move on. Defense counsel Kieran Torrell said Mr. Lance was adamant his worldview, expressed widely on social media, was correct.
I can imagine exactly what his newsfeed looks like.
Oh, yeah. He referred to a post Mr. Lance made in July, saying the Earth was a spheroid, water-filled, round body, indicating Mr. Lance had now changed his view. However, Mr. Lance said that GIF was designed to show how ridiculous the idea of a floating water ball is.
So he posted that the Earth was a sphere to show how ridiculous that globe heads are.
Yes. Among his beliefs were that NASA was a conspiracy to hoodwink people, Albert Einstein was used for the same purpose, and that the New Zealand government was involved in the Christchurch mosque shootings, Mr. Tohill said. In the real world... Not great. In the real world, your statements have consequences, as opposed to the fringe world that you live in on the internet. There are no consequences. You can say whatever you want. You had this bet with Mr. Sutherland. You believe the Earth was flat. He believes he's won. He wants his money.
Yeah.
Mr. Tohill said Sutherland had not threatened Mr. Lance, who did not have a crossbow, and would give evidence Mr. Lance asked for his bank account details in February. So... I mean, I get it.
A lot to unpack, yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many layers. I like that the defense's argument is, well, he made this bet, so he does owe him the money, but also he doesn't have a crossbow, so he couldn't have made the threat. I like that.
He doesn't own a crossbow, so yeah,
Just
that's
based
the end
on
of it.
my experience with jury duty is when there's an obviously guilty person, the defense usually consists of he definitely did not have the capability to do this, but if he had done it, it would have been okay. That's very much the tactic.
Yeah, because they have to say, okay, he didn't do it, but if he did, then it's okay. Because
That would be fine and normal.
either way,
Because we don't know which way the jury's going to land. And we have to
the guy refused to plead guilty, and so now we have to, like, pretend he's not guilty. But also we have to try and hope that, like, if they find him guilty, they'll give him a lesser sentence because we justify why it would be okay if he was guilty.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a crossbow, but if he did have a crossbow, I mean, this guy did owe him the money, so...
The guy did owe him money.
In real world has consequences.
It does have consequences, and it is quite concerning when someone threatens you with a crossbow.
Yeah, if he threatened him with, like, strangulation or, like, a gun or something, that's fine.
Yeah, well, it's like, okay, well, sure.
I know
Yeah,
how to
you said you're going to, like, cut my head off and drag me through the streets, my bloody body. But,
well,
like,
okay, I know how to deal with that. I'll block the sword, but crossbow, I don't know how to deal... I don't know how to block a crossbow bolt.
Yeah. Well, how do you stop a crossbow?
Threaten to shoot me, I'll petition for stricter gun laws. Okay, easy. But,
Yeah,
like, I can't
sure.
petition for stricter crossbow laws. That's not a thing.
Are there crossbow laws? Does the Second Amendment allow crossbows in the United States of America? I don't know.
I don't know. This is in New Zealand, and so they do now have stricter gun laws. So I guess he probably only would have a crossbow. So, you know, maybe they need to work on their crossbow laws too.
I wouldn't be shocked if a guy from New Zealand had a crossbow. It kind of seems like on brand.
It's the only thing that can kill a sheep. Everybody knows that.
It's the only thing that can kill a zombie sheep as well.
Oh, well, no, because I've watched that movie, and I know that you can kill a zombie sheep with a plane propeller.
Well, what's easier? What's more portable? A plane propeller attached to a plane, presumably.
Yes.
Or a crossbow.
Excellent point, Alison. A crossbow
a plane
can't
is
fly,
quite
though.
heavy. Personally, I can't put a plane in my backpack.
No, but you can put yourself inside the plane's backpack, and then the plane can transport you around.
Well, that's true.
Exactly. Do you have another story for me, Alison?
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Let's jump back to Australia. Since we went we went over to the colonisers, then we popped over to another colony. Now let's pop over to the colony that we're from. Let's go to this one, which I'm reading from The Courier, as it's called. But it's one of the Australian community media newspapers, it's the Ballarat Courier.
Okay,
Right.
so Daddy owns the Ballarat Courier.
Daddy owns the Ballarat Courier, is what we're getting at
Cool.
here. I really don't like it when on the header they just say The Courier. It's like, which courier? There's about a million couriers.
It's presumptuous. Like, I went to a school called the Armidale School, but there's like 6 schools in Armidale.
Exactly.
So it's an arrogant school name, and it thinks, like, it implies it's the best school, and it's not. I went there. So, like... Anyway.
Like, even the Sydney Morning Herald, it says in the title Sydney, so I know it's from
Right?
Sydney. But, like, the Courier...
It could be anywhere.
This could be from anywhere. There's also a courier in Queensland, is there not? The Courier Mail.
It could be a courier delivering a parcel. Like, I
It
need
could
more
be
specific
DHL.
information.
I don't know. So this
It could
is
be
from
Star Trek.
the Star Trek Express. This is from the Courier, the Ballarat Courier, and it is in fact from Queensland. So it's got a video embedded in it, which I can't be bothered explaining. So let's just go into the story. Watch fly fishermen dangle from a drone above central Victoria.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is very cool.
That's some stunt shit. That's some Mission Impossible shit
This
right
is
there.
some Mission Impossible shit, indeed. So basically, the video is just a video of the guy dangling from a drone going fishing. Which...
Okay. So the activity itself is fairly dull, but it's the way in which he's doing it that makes it interesting.
It's the manner manner in which he is fishing which makes it exciting, because otherwise fishing is pretty boring.
How high above the water is this gentleman person?
This gentleman. Let's have a look. Quite high.
Okay. So, right off the bat, I'm struggling to see the point of this outside of it being extremely cool.
Well, it does go into the point in the article a little bit.
Okay. All right. I'm very curious about why on earth someone would do this stupid
because
thing.
In the video, we do catch a glimpse of a sign which says no motorboats allowed on the river.
Now we have to update the sign to say no drones too, dickhead.
So it says, a fisherman has taken flight at a Victorian reservoir after 2 years of work. A shed that almost burnt to the ground and a prototype that got wrapped around a tree.
Oh shit, so he built this? That's some Jimmy Neutron shit.
Yeah, he needed to build the drone to lift him.
Oh my god.
Because a typical drone does not lift a man.
So... of all of the... So this sounds like a genuine, like, technological, innovative...
Feat. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an achievement.
This is an achievement, and then you use it to go fishing.
You could use that to medevac people out of the jungle, and you use it to go fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
For fuck's sake.
It's like, you're like, you know, people say, hey, what happened to your shed? It's like, oh, I burnt it down, you know, I'm trying to build a man-carrying drone. And they're like, wow,
it's like,
that's amazing.
you want to like rescue people from war zones? And it's like, no, I want to fish.
It's like, no, I kind of, you know that lake over there that we're not allowed to put the motorboat in? I kind of want to go fishing.
How much disposable income does this motherfucker have?
Good question. So it says, a group of friends watched as stuntman Sam Foreman was lifted off the ground by a drone, cast a line at the upper Coliban Reservoir, and then relaxed with a beer. The custom-made drone took the enthusiasts from Kinnerton and Sunbury area 2 years to build and test, Tim French said. You see a lot of videos on the net about flying cars. We had a bit of experience with drones, so we wanted to see what we could do. 2 years of testing culminated recently in an airborne fisherman. It took a lot of work experimenting with battery and motor sizes to pull off the flight.
So, a few things right off the bat.
Sure.
One, what he's done is built a very small helicopter.
Yeah.
Two,
a very small helicopter with a winch coming down.
Yeah.
And the lawn chair attached to it so he can go fishing comfortably.
Two, he said he has a drink, which means that there is a cup holder, which is excellent.
Let's take a look. Is there a cup holder on this drone?
It would be better if there was a built-in esky, but I know...
No, he's just kind of like nestling his beer.
Well, come on, you had 2 years. You couldn't install a cup holder?
You couldn't... Oh, no, hang on, there is a cup holder in this other picture.
Yes!
There is a stubby holder for your VB. Of course it's VB.
You have enough money to build a drone, you can buy a better beer.
You can buy a Corona or something.
You can buy a fucking Corona, come on.
Or an Asahi. I don't know what beers are good. I don't drink alcohol.
You can buy like a fancy craft beer from, like, somewhere. Oh no, I pulled out my headphones.
Exactly. But no, you got to get a VB. You got to show off your talents. So, anyway, it goes on to talk about the technical feats, which we don't really care about too much. But, you know, as you might imagine, there are some issues with this invention.
Okay.
Some perhaps legal issues.
Just a few. I know that people don't love it when you just like build man-carrying
like an aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Because I feel like legally this is more a helicopter than a drone, since he's presumably piloting it.
Well, I think someone else is piloting it. He's just sitting there with his fishing rod.
That is a lot of trust to put in a person.
It is a lot of trust to put in a person.
If that person rapidly pressed descend, thanks to the magic of inertia, he would go up through it.
It wouldn't be ideal.
And that would be pollution, because it would be polluting the lake with lots of bits of man.
Well, it could be good for the fish, though.
That's true. The fish might like that.
Little nutritious bits of man for the fish to nibble on.
It'll depend on what his health is like.
Yeah, whether or not the fish like get poisoned by his body toxins.
Yeah, like is he a smoker?
Or if he had gone on like a detox first. He's like, look, I'm going to do a detox so then if the fish nibble on my body that they have some nutritious little tidbits.
I think that you should be allowed to use your drone fish of thing over the water, but I think you should be required to do like a 2-week detox beforehand just in case you get mulched. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That seems like a good compromise to me.
Right, exactly. That's what you have to do. And you have to prove that you've done the detox. And, perhaps then the Civil Aviation Safety Authority could be selling, like, detox tummy teas or something, like Instagram influencers.
Yeah.
And then make a little bit of extra side cash for their job.
Also, what I'm thinking is, in addition to the cup holder, I think what we need to do is build in I think this machine can only run using fuel, and that fuel is detoxified piss. So I think that's the only thing that makes this machine go.
And
so
it only works if there's like little bits of goji berry, like residue.
So you have to fill it up to get it to start. And that's how you know, like, otherwise people are just going to do it and get mulched and poison the fish.
Yeah.
So we have to build it into the device, a safety mechanism where you have to piss in it.
That's a very good idea. You should get in contact with them. Because, as you could imagine, this video went quite viral because it's quite a thing to exist.
Yes.
Whatever. So, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, being the absolute narcs they are...
Fucking losers.
This is an updated article from 9 News, and it says, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority said in a statement to 9 News it was aware of the video and an investigation is underway. CASA said it was gathering information and warned fishermen that if they've breached aviation safety rules, they could face fines upwards of $1,000 or 5 years in jail.
This motherfucker can afford $1,000. Like, he built a helicopter.
Yeah, this probably made more than $1,000 just from, like, ad revenue on this video.
Yeah. The jail thing will be an issue, though, because you can't vlog from jail.
Well, they could use the drone to come winch him out of jail.
That's true. It's like a built-in escape. That's excellent.
The drone just, like, hovers over it. It, like, clips himself in and says, goodbye, motherfuckers. And the next thing you know, he's fishing, like, in the lake right outside the jail. Because that's all he wanted to do.
The best friend that he's made in prison, he lowers a fishing line down and he's like, grab on, Jeremy. And Jeremy does grab on and he lets him out.
He's like, this is quite sharp. Like, it's not ideal.
Oh, yeah, it does hook through the roof of Jeremy's mouth. That's not pleasant at all.
But at least he's out of jail.
Yeah,
with his new mate.
And plus, I think that it's important that Jeremy suffers a little bit. Like, he needs to be punished for what he did.
Yeah, because he did a crime.
He did a bad boy crime. And I'm guessing
the crime wasn't, like, super bad. It was just some, like, light fraud. So,
He just got done for marijuana possession, and we need to...
yeah, sure.
Just legalise, and then... Here's what I'm thinking, is to get a weed card. In Australia, to get a weed card, you have to let yourself be lifted off the ground via a hook in the roof of your mouth.
Held by a fisherman who is being lifted by a drone.
Yeah, just to prove that you're responsible enough to use it. And, like, if you can deal with that, then you can get a weed card, plus you'll need it for the pain.
Yeah, you probably would after that kind of ordeal. But I feel like that's quite unfair because then only the very privileged people who have enough money to charter a drone with a fisherman on it would be able to get their weed card.
Oh, no, the government's going to start building these services.
Oh, so it's a service provided by the government?
Yeah. So we're going to build helipads.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
We're going to build helipads on the roof of every pharmacy in Australia so that you can perform these tests.
And with a fisherman just waiting to, like...
We're all about job creation in my government.
Yeah, exactly. Because, as we move forward and as the world becomes more and more vegan, less people will be eating fish. So fishermen will need jobs.
Exactly, and I think that it should be giving people weed cards by stabbing them in the mouth.
We're creating a lot of jobs here. Jobs and growth, jobs and innovation.
I've always wondered what my platform would be when I one day run for Prime Minister, and I think I've just discovered it, and it's going to go very, very well.
There's a lot of... Now, you are going to introduce my bill that I have been trying to introduce to Parliament for a long time, which is the bill that if the car stops in the middle of an intersection, it's okay to key it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'd say that it's okay to hit. I think it's okay to hit it, like, just with your car.
Yeah,
Like,
well, if you're a pedestrian, here is what I'm saying, Chris. If you're a pedestrian walking on by and the car is stopped across the crosswalk and you have to walk around the car into the traffic, then it's okay to run whatever sharp object you have in your hand along the side and scrape the paint on the car.
Can I put one little amendment to this, which is that you have to, before keying it, you have to lick the car as a warning shot. Because that's pretty gross and no one wants it to happen, but it's not permanent damage. But then, like, if they're like, no, I'm busy on my phone texting while driving here, then you're like, all right, guess who's getting a dick kid into their car?
If, on the other hand, you see the shame on their face as they realise they've stopped in the middle of the crosswalk and then they, like, slink down and, like, try and duck so no one can see them, then maybe, like, you just do a little nick with the key rather than a full-on...
Yeah, like, they need to be taught a lesson, but, like, that way you can Band-Aid over it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That way, like, other pedestrians can see, I know they've stopped in a crosswalk before, so if they make a habit of it, we can go all out.
Plus, that way we can start selling Band-Aids at the RTA, and that's just another great revenue generator.
Another great Aussie true blue industry that we're bolstering with our policies. Stop Adani, key cars instead.
I support this.
That's basically the lesson of today's podcast.
Can I give you a story? This one was submitted by intern Marianne.
Thanks, intern.
Shout out to Marianne. Let me just open it in the browser because it broke the Instapaper app. So this is from a slightly different source. This is from Kiss 1065.
Oh, Kiss FM.
Kiss FM. This is written by Jenna Benson.
Is Kiss the one that has Carl Sanderlands in it now?
Yes, it does have the bad man.
Okay, because every time, like, I see... A good thing about leaving Australia, actually, I should preface this with, is I no longer have to see his face on the back of every single bus.
Yes. I'm always distraught by... They always put him and his colleague Jackie O next to each other, and the attractiveness differentiation between them is stark.
And they're on radio. Like,
they're on radio.
I mean, as a not-so-attractive person, I always thought there was hope for me in the radio industry, but... I don't think so.
Yeah, so wait, are you saying that you want to take her job, or are you saying that you want him to be replaced with a more attractive man?
Yeah, either way.
Just both.
Both. Or replace Carl Sanderlands with me, and I'll host a show along with Jackie O.
That sounds fun. I like that idea.
I don't know much about Jackie O, but I do feel like her life would be improved if she didn't have to host a show with Carl Sanderlands.
You can change Jackie O for the better, and I think that should be your new life goal.
She's workable. You know, she's malleable.
Hashtag save Jackie O. So this is from Kiss FM.
I don't think I've got any chance of working with Kiss FM if any of them listen to this particular episode, so that's okay.
That's okay, they won't. So the headline is, 2 men spotted riding motorised lounge chairs down busy Newcastle Road.
Oh, yeah. I'm all for motorised home furniture.
So, 2 men have taken the phrase lazy Sunday to a whole new level, driving motorised lounge chairs down a main road in Newcastle. Witnesses spotted the pair riding carefully down the footpath and then crossing at the lights.
Good. I like that they are following the road rules.
They were reportedly heading to a Big Boys Toys expo nearby, which just sounds like either A, a fun dildo convention, or B, just a hellscape of toxic masculinity.
I would probably lean towards the latter.
Yeah. Then the rest of the article is just the video of the event, and I'm just going to narrate what I'm seeing to you.
Okay.
So there's 2 men sitting in fairly tattered-looking, sort of like grandpa lounge chairs.
Yeah, well, they're probably students, and that's probably what was provided in their accommodation.
One of them has, like, his feet extended out on, like, the couch sort of bit where the legs come out. That same chair has actually put reflection lights on the back, which I adore. So it is road safe.
Well, you've got to make it road safe, yeah.
Yeah. They've got very little wheels that kind of look like shopping trolley wheels.
Well, you could put some monster truck wheels on there. It would be better.
So I've got one bit where there's a close-up of the men in question. I'd say they both look like they're in their 30s, 40s. One of them's got like a big They actually look exactly like the dudes from Mythbusters.
Are we sure it's not?
One of them's got a big beard, black aviators, and what looks like
A beret.
A beret.
Does he really have a beret?
It looks like a beret.
Oh,
I don't know if it is, but
are we sure it's not the guy from Mythbusters?
I think they've dressed up as them. I'm pretty sure it's not them.
Well, maybe they're probably trying to dress up as them. You're right.
Then the other one has a long sort of like straw-coloured beard and a straw hat to match, and a Drago Grandpa t-shirt on.
Well, that's not very Mythbusters then.
No. What's cool about this chair is
That's
that
not
it's
very
still...
Adam Savage.
It still has the little feet coming down from it that appear to be... They appear to be hovering millimetres above the ground. So,
Well,
like, the
I
slightest
hope
bump.
there's no, like, little, loose asphalt on the ground.
Otherwise, these chairs are well and truly fucked. There is no more content to this story. It's refreshingly brief.
Their nan said that they can use the sofa, but they can't take the feet off because she wants to put it back in her house later.
And then they said, Nan, you should have phrased that differently. And then they started drilling wheels into the bottom of it.
Well, it might be good for Nan then, because then she doesn't have to get up off the sofa when she's watching Days of Our Lives to get a new cup of tea. She can just modify the entire house so that the sofa can fit through every door and opening.
So I have a few problems with this initially. One is that I'm going to assume that these follow the same laws as, say, motorised scooters.
Yeah, sure.
So a beret is not a helmet, I'm afraid to say. And
Well, it could be.
that is a $400 fine unless it's a reinforced beret. It didn't look like he'd done up the strap on his beret either way, so unfortunately I don't think that's roadworthy. Because they're not
Well,
going...
you need to do up the beret strap to be allowed on the road.
Here's the question, though. Is it more legal for them to do it on the footpath or on the road itself? Because they're on the footpath, and I think that they should...
Well, as a pedestrian, I would find that quite annoying.
Yeah, I think they should...
If I need to walk briskly to get to work and they're, like, pottering on by on their bloody sofa,
I
I would be quite frustrated.
I think it's a motor vehicle, and so they should have to go on the road itself.
It's a movie. So, yeah, you're right.
Also, I just really want to see a semi-trailer overtake one of them, because I think that would be the funniest shit in the world.
Do you remember that story where it was very similar, except people were riding on their esky? They motorised their esky so they could ride around on it.
Well, I think we need to combine these two things together and have the esky be a sidecar.
Yeah.
So that you can then keep your many beers in the sidecar of the
Or
armchair.
We can get the people who made the fishing drone together with the people who made the motorised sofa and, build an air and land vehicle, multi-purpose sofa vehicle.
I think that's what the drone needs, really, is cushioning. So,
Sure.
You said he had a lawn chair. I don't want that. I want
a lawn chair isn't the most comfortable, seating arrangement.
So I think what we need to do then is we need to, instead of having the propeller up top, I think we need to have the propeller underneath the chair so that, you don't get blasted in the face by the wind.
Okay, well, that's a good point as well.
Keep the cup holders, put the esky in the side, as the little sidecar. I don't know, you probably have to weight the other side, otherwise you'll fall into the water. And, I mean, that all the beer will go in, and that's not detox friendly.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Or you could just have, it's like a beer on tap situation. And the beer is, in a giant vessel attached to the underneath, so that it balances out. And it's always...
What if instead you had change it back to having the propeller above, and then there's a keg that's attached to it, and there's just a tube coming down with the tap there, and you just have a glass that you sort of just refill when you're done.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. And then it's good for the environment because there's no waste involved. There's no
exactly.
glass that you're going to be throwing off down onto the street and hitting people with that. That's very dangerous.
If you feel like something bad's about to happen, you can just cut the wire and only you fall, and the keg just hovers there forever. That's the way it should be. I mean, until it runs out of piss fuel, obviously.
Yeah, well, obviously. But until the beer has affected your piss and they're like, oh, toxins, alert, and then you get ejected before you're...
Oh, so are you saying that there's a constant stream of piss coming from your body to the drone to
no,
refuel
because later you need to refuel.
You climb up on top drop trowel and just like kind of go in the fuel tank, but it doesn't work anymore.
Exactly, because your toxins have entered your body through the alcohol that you're drinking.
So what?
And that's a lot of toxins.
So I'm going to fill my keg with vitamin water because that way I'm creating.
That's better. Or tummy tea. Tummy tea is also
tummy
good.
Tea. That way is essential. Problem with tummy tea, Alison, is that you might get up there and accidentally be like, "Uh-oh, I need to do the other one." And unfortunately, the machine it's not designed to take that fuel. It doesn't
take that. Yeah, it doesn't take that form.
You have to buy the diesel model to get the other.
And if you do buy that type, then people assume you're trying to make a fertilizer bomb, and you probably get arrested for being in the IRA, which is not ideal.
They're fine with you making piss robots, but poo robots are not. They're not. Okay.
They see you're a redhead who went to a Catholic school, who's trying to buy like a mechanical thing which involves fertilizing objects, and it's just not. It's not ideal.
That's true. You have just described the classic incel, so like, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So before we finish up,
yes,
can I just lay down one last little tidbit for us?
If you do it quickly.
Yeah, I'll do it really quickly, because this story actually isn't that exciting. Okay. This is just a story about someone found a seal on a beach, and the seal had a crab stuck in its mouth, so they removed the crab from the seal's jaws. Lovely.
Okay.
And so this is from the Great Lakes Advocate. But I just wanted to point out a really fun part about this story, which is right at the end. Because you know when you're writing a news story, and it's all based on, like, someone's experience, how you need to have some kind of like evidence or expert opinion to kind of back up what you're saying. Well, this journalist, I'll read this sentence to you because this is very funny to me. According to the free encyclopedia Wikipedia, the leopard seal is the second largest species of seals in the Antarctic.
Oh, someone got in trouble in high school. I love that they say the free encyclopedia Wikipedia. Just in case you were wondering what it is.
But it's just like, I feel like a fact like the leopard seal is the second largest species in the Antarctic and its only natural predator was the killer whale. You don't need to cite that.
You're allowed to just say that as a fact.
That's a fact, yeah. You don't need to say, according to the free encyclopedia Wikipedia, the leopard seal is...
We all know that's where you got it from. You don't have to tell us. Pretend you've been here before. Be cool.
Yeah, just pretend you've been around the block.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, anyway, I just thought that was a fun little tidbit of journalism
that's excellent.
to include right at the end here.
Thank you all for listening. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Red Menace Casts. Or
according to the free encyclopedia Wikipedia, we are the second most popular podcast called The Red Menace. So,
shout out to the other Red Menace podcast who apparently listens to our show. You guys are cool. Thank you.
Do they really?
Well, I mean, they said they did on Twitter.
Oh.
I guess
well, thank you very much.
We'll find out.
We'll find out based on this.
Yeah, they shouted us out on Twitter and begged us not to sue them, which I appreciate.
Thank you. Well, we won't sue you. We won't sue you if you can prove the world is flat.
Yeah, they pledged fealty to us, and this is our demand: is prove the world is flat.
Prove the world is flat, or we'll threaten you with a crossbow. No, we won't do that. That's really not ideal.
No, I don't have a crossbow. Or you can find our merch on tpublic.com. Their search function is kind of busted, so just search the Red Menace TeePublic and it'll come up. Like, search it on Google, and then just go to the top link.
Navigate away from the other Red Menace to us.
They don't have merch on TeePublic, so we're still doing okay there. Please don't put merch on TeePublic. That's our turn.
Put it on another website, and
find
then that's
a different one.
We love you guys. Your podcast is great and very informative.
And also, it gives us, we get your runoff listeners, which I appreciate.
Thanks. We get your drippings.
Yeah.
Your scraps.
Thank you everybody for listening. Good luck and good night.
Good night.